Hi, Farooq, you there?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Can you?
let's start because Rosa will be here
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
you gotten up
Let's
really
do it.
early for this as well.
No worries.
So, great. So, thanks a lot, Farooq, for joining us for this. I know you're very passionate about the topic of security and data privacy and best practices and best measures. And आपके लिए काफी सुबह भी है, it's 7:30 in the morning. So, thanks for being up so early and looking bright and cheerful.
Mm.
जो लोग अभी तक ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं, thank you so much. For those who will join later, the recorded session will always be there on all the social media posts. जो लोग नहीं जानते, फारूक साहब का मैं तारुफ करा दूं. फारूक साहब has been an industry veteran in Pakistan also. I have had the pleasure of knowing him since I started my career in IT, and then I kept track of him until he was in DIB and a couple of other places. फिर ये कनाडा चले गए. And उधर जाके भी ये आराम से नहीं बैठे. He's been extremely busy. Anybody who follows him on social media will see that he's currently the CISO of Orion, which is an Ontario-based security education network. जिसके बारे में I will allow him to speak a few words. And
Mm.
लेकिन Pakistan, where he keeps contributing, he's always coming back and forth. मुझे last year पेशावर भी मिले थे youth summit पे, and अभी भी आप देखेंगे बहुत सारे webinars and चीजें करते रहते हैं. एंड जो लोग मुझे नहीं जानते, फिर मेरे आप सोशल मीडिया पेज पे आके लिंक के थ्रू आए हैं, होपिंग थोड़ा बहुत तो जानते होंगे.
Mm.
मेरा नाम इमरान खान है. पॉलिटिक्स से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, ना मैं क्रिकेट खेलता हूँ, बट आई एम द फाउंडर, को फाउंडर एंड मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ऑफ रैपिड कंप्यूट, जो कि पाकिस्तान का सबसे पुराना और इस वक्त सबसे बड़ा पब्लिक क्लाउड सर्विस प्रोवाइडर है, जो कि इंडिजिनसली पाकिस्तान की कॉर्पोरेट्स को, रीजनल कॉर्पोरेट्स को सर्व करता है. फारूक, बिस्मिल्लाह करते हैं. आई वुड जस्ट लाइक यू टू शेयर अ फ्यू वर्ड्स अबाउट योर बैकग्राउंड एंड सो दैट पीपल कैन आइडेंटिफाई विद यू बेटर.
Mm. Thank you, Imran. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It's not that early morning in Toronto right now. It's like 7:41 a.m. But thanks for a really good introduction. आपने मेरा काम आसान कर दिया. In short, I'll just tell you briefly about my organization. We are basically an ISP. We run Canada's first and only non-commercial 5G network. And I mean, the reason why we call it research and education network is for the reasons of governance and the services we provide. So we provide connectivity services to all the research and education networks. So we're a not-for-profit, and of course, we provide a low-cost, high bandwidth connectivity to all the research institutions. And Alhamdulillah, mashallah, we are the backbone to all the research hospitals and universities who are working on the cure for COVID-19 in the province of Ontario.
Excellent. Oh, that's wonderful. We didn't know that. And we know that Canada has been taking the COVID outbreak quite seriously. In fact, I think North America, you are the only people who are taking it seriously. The Americans don't seem to be taking it too seriously.
Wahapid, they've got lots of politics which is kicked in, so yeah.
So,
Please
the topic for today is the importance of data localization, and this topic for me has obviously received importance again because पाकिस्तान ने अभी PDPA का final draft निकाला है, जिसके बाद the last consultative draft, जिसके बाद going to go towards legislature. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it last year as well and year before last as well. काफी changes आ चुकी हैं, model a bit after GDPR and a couple of other things. And it's been a long time coming. And हम तो 2011 में जब से हम क्लाउड का काम यहाँ शुरू किया था पाकिस्तान में, उस वक्त से ही हमारी सोच यही थी कि we wanted to have an indigenous platform so that local organizations can have their data placed in sovereign territory and do it locally. And we're very happy that now at least a draft has come about that is going to at least force people to sit up and take notice कि यार data की भी एक value है. And data, I mean, everybody loves saying data is the new oil, but that's actually a fact because data is now the we've seen even in the last US elections, the Cambridge Analytica thing became very popular. And then we've seen, which I will cover in one of the topics with you, so many data leakages that's happening that made us realize that data really is the new gold, where anyone who has access to the most amount of data, either legally or illegally, can not only control the narrative, but also control major economic factors and major business factors in whatever country they have the data for. And it's becoming more and more critical. And मेरा अपना view ये है कि as a country हमारा viewpoint on data privacy बहुत poor है. And we think of it as a burden, and which is why I thought that this is a good time कि जब ये topic वापस importance में लोगों की नजरों में आया है, so we should take out some time and have a discussion on this. So if you allow me, we'll just go with the slides to me. We'll just go topic by topic and just allow you to shed some light and some views on it. Is that okay with you, Farooq?
Bilkul.
So obviously, I think one of the first things that you can help us and lend value perspective from the Canadian side as well, कि governments के लिए क्यों important है कि data को localize करें. We've seen regionally भी बहुत बातें हो रही हैं, इंडिया वगैरह, बाकी लोग भी, आपकी रीजन में भी, नॉर्थ अमेरिका में, साउथ अमेरिका में बहुत बातें हो रही हैं. So why do we keep saying this again and again कि governments के लिए बहुत important है data localize करना? What is your view from across the border?
I think the driving force behind this is the rapid increase in the migration towards the cloud. I think just to be clear, I mean, cloud is a new terminology, but the cloud was always there. I mean,
can everybody else please mute their mics, please? Thank you. I've muted everybody else. Gigi.
Okay. So I think the first thing is that okay, sorry. So I think it's the migration towards the cloud, and if I just talk from the Canadian perspective, most of these data protection laws which came into effect in Canada were after 2000, and I'll go into the details of that in a while. But what happened is that late 90s, the world saw the .com boom, right? And of course, and we have been seeing breaches for quite a while. I mean, breaches is not something which came up in the past 5 years or 10 years. So what drove all this was the rapid migration towards the cloud, and of course the ongoing breaches. And this led to the governments around the world to bring in legislation through which they can make the companies which are hosting this information accountable. And the only way you can make them accountable is by making sure that whatever data they are processing is within your sovereign boundaries. So that's the main driver behind this.
So we see businesses, not just businesses, government sector of all sort going onto the cloud, and there's good reason for that because everything is getting digitized, workloads exponentially increase हो रहे हैं. So obviously it's a lot easier for businesses to go onto the cloud. Government में तो और भी ज़्यादा because I mean at least in Pakistan government में budget procurement का process इतना मुश्किल होता है कि companies को भी पता है कि यार अगर हमने hardware खरीदा और वो 6 महीने बाद exhaust हो गया तो the process of expanding is so difficult that even government now is thinking कि यार rather go on a service oriented model, which is why we've also seen a lot of uptake from government sector. But at the same time हम ये भी देखते हैं कि बहुत सारे मुल्क including पाकिस्तान, इसमें बहुत सारे डेटा की गवर्नमेंट्स को क्रिटिकलिटी का अंदाजा ही नहीं है. अब उसमें आप चाहे ये कह दें कि गवर्नमेंट में जो लोग बैठे हुए हैं वो डेटा से या टेक्नोलॉजी से इतना फेमिलियर नहीं है, या मे बी दे डोंट थिंक दैट देयर इज लॉन्जेविटी इन देयर रोल्स. बट आप उनसे बात करें तो उनको बहुत सारा क्रिटिकल डेटा का ये अंदाजा ही नहीं है कि गवर्नमेंट को ये डेटा लोकल रखना चाहिए. हेल्थ हो गया, फाइनेंशियल हो गया, और बहुत सारा और डेटा है जो वक्तन फवक्तन पता चलता रहता है कि इसकी तरफ किसी ने देखा ही नहीं है. I mean, do you see that over there as well, or do you hear any stories like this over there कि यार health data या financial data या personally identifiable data government ने realize ही नहीं किया कि यार या municipal data, क्योंकि वहाँ तो social security और municipal data भी बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो वहाँ कितना टाइम लगा टू अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू ऑफ दिस?
देखिए इमरान, if I talk about facts right now, this is still a challenge. Okay, this is still a challenge. अगर आप सिर्फ गूगल करें कि पिछले 2 सालों में कितने ransomware attacks incidents हुए हैं in municipalities in North America, those numbers have gone up because the cyber criminals are going after all those organizations who are sitting over a huge data pool. The municipalities are sitting over a huge data pool, so that's why they target public sector organizations. जहाँ तक तो importance की बात है, of course there was importance around it. That's why they came up with legislation. The challenge that we have had in Canada over the past many years is enforcement. We have a privacy commissioner who is dealing with enforcement. We're good on them. The only challenge is that through a legislation, you make organizations and people accountable. That's one part of it. But of course, enforcement is a challenge. So at times, I mean, legislation के आने के बाद, of course, incidents कम जरूर हुए हैं, but incidents हो रहे हैं. अभी back in March we had a data breach at Rogers, which is one of the largest telecom in Canada. ठीक है जी, Travelix Insurance Company उसने भी $1.3 million ransomware में पे किया. ठीक है जी. Of course, जो हमारा data protection का जो act है, which is Personal Information Protection Electronic Documents Act, which had a new set of changes to it after the GDPR, उसने तो mandatory breach reporting भी in place कर दी है. So of course importance is there, and of course the thing is that culturally Canada associates lots of importance to the subject of privacy. Like the thing is that we associate this with the fundamental rights of the citizens of Canada or the residents of Canada. Like we say that it's a fundamental right. ठीक है जी. तो इसी वजह से जब कहीं breach होती है, all the pillars of the state they kick in. But the press makes a big deal about that. The privacy commissioner investigates that. The people, or the social organizations on social justice, they take it seriously. Class action suits होते हैं, government inquiry call करती है. उसकी वजह से जो है मतलब all the pillars of the government they kick in and they make sure that there is some kind of recourse to that it's not taken. And I would like to talk briefly about the US also. US में breaches को इतना seriously नहीं लिया जाता क्योंकि culturally US is more about national security, and they would do anything in the name of national security. They can snoop over you, they can eavesdrop your conversation based on that. अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि कैनेडा भी ये नहीं करता, कैनेडा भी करता है इस चीज को, but of course they also make sure that they strike a balance too. One thing that I also want to briefly mention is that the whole world is right now getting inspired by GDPR. Very few people know that the GDPR has been inspired by a Canadian. The framework for privacy by design was designed by Dr. Anne Cavoukian, who's the former privacy commissioner for the province of Ontario. Her book has been published in more than 20 languages, and privacy by design ने inspire किया था GDPR को. तो जब भी लोग हमसे GDPR की बात करते हुए कहते हैं, okay, yeah, that's a Canadian success story.
That's good for me to know. That's excellent. That's something new I learned from this.
And I'm doing a webinar with Dr. Anne Cavoukian later this week.
Really?
I'll send you the information on that.
Yeah. So आपने enforcement की बात की government level पे. So enforcement के लिए, what is the model that Canada follows to enforce that people actually comply to this? Because the larger the government and the business base, it's challenge तो हर चीज में, even on the tax, even on other things, challenge to enforcement क्या रह जाता है, regulation तो बन जाती है. So what is the model that Canada follows to enforce compliance to this?
The first thing is heavy fines. So अभी जो हमने PPDA में latest changes जो किए हैं, after getting inspired from GDPR or vice versa, we have
fine
बढ़ाया है. जैसे GDPR के fines देखे, they're going to millions. Okay?
Yeah, they're huge.
They can fine you a fraction of your revenue.
Yes.
तो उसकी वजह से तो एक तो फाइन है, और उसके अलावा और भी एक्शन होता है, मतलब कि it's fine and of course making sure that I think the main thing is fine, and of course the other pillars of the state, they also kick in, because of course ever since we have had PIPEDA and GDPR, it has taken a global effect, and the press and media, they make a big deal about it, all these things. They make a big deal. और उसके अलावा देखिए सिविल सोसाइटी भी बहुत अवेयर है यहाँ पे क्लास एक्शन सूट हो जाते हैं. यहाँ पे एक ब्रीच हुआ था with a diagnostic company which does labs and all that, just like you have in Pakistan, like SynLab and all these things. So in late 2019, they had a breach. They now have a class action suit, and the name of that company is Life Labs. You can search that too. Life Labs got breached, and now they have a class action suit of about $4.3 million right now.
Oof.
जी. And of course, the cost to और दूसरी बात है कि उसके अलावा यहाँ भी also have cyber insurance. आपके cyber insurance premiums ऊपर चले जाते हैं, आपके fine बढ़ जाता है. So it means you're going into millions. I mean, you're talking about 100 at times. It can go into hundreds and millions of dollars too. I mean, in terms of reputational loss. So organizations, they'll have to make a choice, right? I mean, if they are breached, are they willing to take proactive measures, or they want to take reactive measures?
Yeah, and I think given the kind of data that's being digitized these days, the you know, it's very important that it be protected and kept localized, because eventually अब हो क्या रहा है, in order for e-governance as well, practically all data is now digitized. पहले तो दो चार चीजें होती थी, अब तो practically every aspect of your life has to be digitized if you're to provide you know, holistic e-governance services. So I think given that, all companies have a great responsibility. I mean, अगर आप पाकिस्तान में भी मिसाल ले लें, जो ये फिनटेक्स आ रही हैं, you know, the State Bank and the law enforcement agencies have had to allow them access to a lot of services, a lot of information that previously wasn't given to private companies, right? Because उन्होंने digital wallet भी खोलना है, digital उन्होंने on app उन्होंने fingerprints लेने हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें तो पहले expose ही नहीं होती थी. अब आप देखें ऐप के ऊपर फिंगरप्रिंट भी एक्सपोज करने की इजाजत हो गई है, तस्वीरें भी हैं, शनाख्ती कार्ड नंबर भी है, बैंक अकाउंट नंबर भी है, पिन्स भी हैं, एम पिन्स भी हैं. So it's become so large that unless there is a fear around it, you know, this kind of data is going to be so easily accessible. और फिर हम जैसे लोग हैं जो बाद में कंप्लेन करेंगे गवर्नमेंट ने एक्शन नहीं लिया, जबकि हमारी कंपनियां खुद फॉलो नहीं करती. आई मीन, इफ यू जस्ट हैव टू सी आवर हिस्ट्री विद क्रेडिट कार्ड्स, 2019 में 2 दफा तो क्रेडिट कार्ड के डंप्स मिले. बैंक्स के मैं नाम यहाँ पर नहीं लूंगा, पर आपको भी पता है 2 दफा को लाखों के हिसाब से तो क्रेडिट कार्ड के डंप्स मिले विद पैन नंबर एंड एवरीथिंग अलोंग साइड दैट. और बाद में जब उन पे फोरेंसिक इन्वेस्टिगेशन की तो पता चला जी उन्होंने प्लेन टेक्स्ट फाइलों में सर्वर पे खुले रखे सारी चीजें. तो बिकॉज कोई डर ही नहीं है ना, देयर इज नो फियर ऑफ रिपरकशन. कितने लोगों ने केस कर दिया, कितने लोगों ने शोर मचा दिया, मेरे ख्याल है किसी एक ने भी नहीं किया.
नहीं, पाकिस्तान में कोई हिस्ट्री है कि लोगों ने क्लास एक्शन सूट किया अगेंस्ट द बैंक्स? नहीं किया ना कभी.
पाकिस्तान में तो सिर्फ अपनी ही क्लास लगती है वो क्लास एक्शन. तो
बल्कि मैं आपसे एक इंसिडेंट शेयर करूंगा. जब मैं पेशावर में आपसे मिला था तो आई केम थ्रू इस्लामाबाद एयरपोर्ट. दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट टाइम एट इस्लामाबाद एयरपोर्ट. तो as soon as I landed, within the first 20 minutes when I tried to log into the local Wi-Fi, उसने मुझसे एक ऑनलाइन फॉर्म खुला जिसमें मुझसे मेरी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मांगी. उस इंफॉर्मेशन के साथ तो मैं क्रेडिट कार्ड के लिए अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ. मेरा CNIC मांगा, मेरा डेट ऑफ बर्थ मांगा, मेरा एड्रेस मांगा, सब कुछ मांगा. तो मुझे एक बात बताइए, कितने लोग रोजाना ट्रैवल करते हैं टू इस्लामाबाद एयरपोर्ट एंड कराची एयरपोर्ट, और कितने लोग ना जानते हुए वो इन्फॉर्मेशन वॉलंटियर करते हैं. तो प्रॉब्लम तो बैंक्स और क्रेडिट कार्ड की बात तो बाद में आती है, यहाँ पे तो सिंपल वाईफाई एक्सेस के लिए सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मांग ली जाती है.
ये आप, दिस इज एक्चुअली वेरी ट्रू, बिकॉज आई नोटिस दिस माई सेल्फ. यार इतना कुछ मांग रहे हैं तो या तो रिश्ता देने वाले हैं या तो लॉटरी निकलने वाली, इतना इन्फॉर्मेशन तो कोई भी नहीं मांगता. I'll tell you another, I won't name it, but गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में कोविड रिलेटेड ही हमने अभी कुछ दिनों पहले ही एक पोर्टल लाइव किया. सो उस पोर्टल में it was a voluntary portal, and people are supposed to submit very detailed information about themselves in order to create a heat map. इलाका, residency, तहसील, age, whatever, previous illnesses, current symptoms, काफी मतलब इससे ज्यादा डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन किसी के बारे में हो नहीं सकती. वो शुक्र है अभी लाइव नहीं हुआ है. उस पे ना मैंने छोटी सी बात बोली कि जी SSL नहीं लगा हुआ और इंक्रिप्शन नहीं है, ये डेटा इन ट्रांजिट कोई भी ले सकता है. उन्होंने कहा जी वो तो हो जाएगा ना, अभी आप लाइव करते हैं हो जाएगा. एंड आई जस्ट लुक्ड एट माय इन्फोसेक गाय एंड आई वाज लाइक, यार इज ही सीरियस? मतलब ही इज टेकिंग एवरी सिटीजन्स एक्सट्रीम डिटेल एंड टेलिंग मी कि SSL नहीं भी लगा हुआ तो कोई बात नहीं, आप अभी लाइव करते हैं, बाद में हम कर लेंगे. So there is this attitude कि यार data की कोई value ही नहीं है. There's no value to data, right? Which is, I mean, to them, to a lot of people here, which is why it's always scary कि यार ये लोग जो data ले रहे हैं. अब तो मैं इसी से related मैं जो अगली मैंने इसी से related slide है दूसरी कि people should know on this forum कि what do we mean when we say data जाता है globally क्या क्या हुआ है. मेरे सामने दो तीन बड़ी बड़ी मिसालें लिखी हैं नॉर्थ अमेरिका की जो जिससे आप रिलेट कर पाएंगे. Well, I mean, one of the largest ones that in history तो खैर Yahoo है. Yahoo में तो कोई 3 बिलियन यूजर अकाउंट्स कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गए थे जिसमें मतलब इट्स नोन एज वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट ब्रीचेस इन हिस्ट्री जिसमें लोगों ने अपनी सारी ईमेल, सारी डिटेल्स, फाइनेंशियल डिटेल्स, स्टेटमेंट्स, मेडिकल रिकॉर्ड जो जो उनके इनबॉक्सेस में आया था प्लस उनके अकाउंट के सारी डिटेल. एंड अगर मजीद रिलेटेबल चाहिए तो मतलब आई वुड लाइक टू टच अप ऑन दिस. मैरियट का सबसे बड़ा केस रिसेंट हिस्ट्री में हुआ है जो 2014 से 18 के बीच में 500 मिलियन यूजर्स का डेटा जिसमें उनके पासपोर्ट नंबर, उनके स्कैन पासपोर्ट्स, उनकी तस्वीरें, उनके क्रेडिट कार्ड एक्सपायरीज, उनके क्रेडिट कार्ड की डिटेल्स, स्कैन तस्वीरें, every single thing about them was logged in and it took a breach of that side for Marriott to realize कि यार ये जो हमने इतने सालों से डेटा रखा है 500 मिलियन लोगों का इसकी कोई वैल्यू है. आई मीन कैन यू टच अपॉन दैट कि मतलब इसकी व्हाट इज द लॉजिक बिहाइंड दिस कि आप इतना इंपॉर्टेंट डेटा इतने बड़ी बड़ी ब्रीचेस के बाद आप जस्ट लुक एट द अमाउंट ऑफ पर्सनल डेटा दैट दे हैड.
देखिए मेरी लास्ट वीक एक वेबिनार पे इसी टॉपिक पे बात हो रही थी. जो जितनी भी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जहाँ पे ब्रीचेस हुई हैं रिसेंटली उसका हम एक तरह से एक फोरेंसिक एनालिसिस कर रहे थे. हमने वी सेड ओके what's the most common denominator. So what we found out was that be it Marriott or be it Rogers, these are organizations who have grown through acquisitions. Marriott पे जो Marriott breach हुआ था बहुत कम लोगों को पता है कि उसमें ज्यादा कसूर Marriott का तो था क्योंकि it's like they ultimately responsible, but most of that data was the data which came through Starwood acquisition, which is Sheraton.
Yes.
And of course, the Starwood chain has been there for quite a while, which is bigger than Marriott. असल में होता ही है कि, and of course I've personally witnessed that when I used to be in the consulting world, जब भी mergers and acquisitions होते हैं, data migration strategy is not placed as one of the important things to look at. I mean, data migration strategy होती है एक line item होता है, ठीक है? तो उसको लोग देखते नहीं है, उसको ignore कर देते हैं. It's not a high priority thing. And the thing is that people are more concerned on okay how soon the merger can happen. उसमें जो आपके auditors आते हैं, जो M&A की team होती है, they are focusing more on that and less on data migration. And of course, when you migrate the data, or when you don't, in the case of Marriott, of course, I mean, उनका जो data migration था, जो systems की integration थी, उसमें time बहुत लगा, but the Starwood brand was already under the Marriott umbrella. So Marriott inherited all the data weaknesses or data control weaknesses which the Starwood chain had. Well, unfortunately for Marriott, when this breach was unveiled, they had the data of some EU customers, and they were fined heavily by the European Union. So of course, mergers and acquisitions is the major player in that case because you are doing all that. And the second thing is, of course, when you're integrating all these systems, I mean, you do come inherit all these things, all these challenges around.
So it means that even when these big organizations who we would assume generally to have more controls in place, business decisions take more priority over IT decisions because or security decisions because this this could probably happen in any industry then, any kind of merger and acquisition in that case.
Yeah. The second thing is also integration with third-party application and middleware applications which are used. Often at times when we investigate breaches, we see that third-party APIs or APIs that are used, they also play a role in the compromise of data or data leakage. And of course, the other thing which
that's a very fair point.
एक और चीज जो मैं briefly बात करूंगा इसके बारे में वो है Capital One breach, जिसमें which was last, and I did a whole video on that also. Capital One breach is one of the I mean, the Yahoo breach is one of the largest ones, but the other one is Equifax and Capital One. Capital One is one of the largest banks in North America. or of course जो breach था, it was like one of the most dumbest breach in history, because a developer had access to production data, right? And production data of not just Capital One clients, anyone in the past 6 years who had applied for a Capital One credit card, uski sari information ka access.
For people who don't know, Equifax is a credit bureau. It does credit assessment for people who apply for loans and credit cards.
So of course, so I mean, just lack of basic hygiene, security hygiene kicks in, because I mean, if a developer has access to the production environment, it means that your basic security controls were lacking behind, right?
So थोड़ा if we can talk very briefly about, because यहाँ पर लोग बड़ा identify करते हैं प्लास्टिक aversion है हमारी इकोनॉमी में, तो लोग ने आइडेंटिफाई किया पिछले साल में, आपको पता होगा 2 बैंकों का क्रेडिट कार्ड डेटा और ये सारी चीजें डंप्स में मिली, डार्क वेब में पड़ी हुई थी और बहुत सस्ते दामों में बिक रही थी। आई थिंक $250 या $500 में कोई 50,000 कार्ड का सारा डिटेल मिल रहा था। So I mean, when you see stuff like this, I mean, you've been in consulting previously as well, and अभी भी आप अमेरिका में काफी लार्ज स्केल पे देखते हैं। When you see things like this, I mean, what can we understand from this? कि a bank would keep hundreds and thousands of credit cards available for people to take data in. इसमें कहाँ लैप्स आता है? Because देखिए ये तो related institutions है ना। अगर आप पाकिस्तान की बात भी कर लें तो स्टेट बैंक इज probably the only institution that takes itself seriously in terms of regulation. लेकिन हमारे पास पिछले 2 साल में 4 बैंकों का काफी ज्यादा डेटा जो है वो ब्रीच हो चुके, लॉसेस भी हुए हैं बहुत बड़े बैंक्स को भी। So how do we expose something like this in a country like ours that takes finances very seriously and has a strong regulator as well? But we keep having these issues, and banks still don't take it seriously. So do you think the enforcement is the issue, or is it because there still isn't something laid out in the law?
I think it's a combination of both. Enforcement partly could be blamed, but before that, I think we need to take a step back and understand that the credit card companies or the credit card brands came up with a standard back in 2006 known as PCI DSS. Okay, for those who know this, it's Payment Card Industry Digital Security Standard. और मैं पाकिस्तान से 8 साल पहले आया था, और मैं जब पाकिस्तान में था, जब मैं दुबई इस्लामिक बैंक में भी था, उससे पहले मैं हबीब बैंक में भी था, we used to have meetings with the State Bank of Pakistan. हम लिटरली उनके हाथ जोड़ के बोलते थे कि प्लीज खुदा का वास्ता आप PCI DSS को मैंडेटरी कर दें. It's a standard which but State Bank should make some kind of an approach or a plan to make sure that through a State Bank circular that you make it mandatory for banks to comply with it. क्योंकि मुझे याद है कि जब हम back in 2009 and 10 उस जमाने में PCI DSS की एक डेडलाइन थी, जिससे सब लोगों ने कंप्लाई करना था. हम लोग PBA की मीटिंग्स में जाके रिक्वेस्ट करते थे कि जी आप ये डेडलाइंस एक्सटेंड करवाएं, and State Bank kicks in some kind of a regime so that everybody takes this seriously. मैं ख्याल में आज से 2 या 3 साल पहले वो चीज enact की है State Bank of Pakistan में, because I mean there is a standard PCI DSS of course, और State भी उसको enact कर सकती है, क्योंकि देखें when you already first of all when you already have a standard in place, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, you just follow the standard. PCI DSS एक बहुत detailed standard है, ठीक है. I've been a PCI QSA myself, alhamdulillah, और मैंने जगहों पे मैंने implement किया ये. So of course that's the basic. I mean, I always tell people, go with the basics, go with the fundamentals, follow that, or of course,
and you're right, because Rapid Compute, I think you already know, we were the only cloud provider who were PCI DSS certified 3 years ago. So when we were opting for PCI DSS, so we were doing Recce for auditors, right, or who were going to do the PCI certification. And even at that time, we found out that there were only 2 banks who had gotten certified, and the rest were in process of consideration or pending. And मेरे ख्याल है आज भी that number is not very large. I think it's a very small number even today, which is kind of surprising. कि आज भी स्टेट बैंक का प्रेशर इसके ऊपर PCI के ऊपर नहीं है. क्योंकि मैं बगैर नाम लिए एक बैंक का बताऊंगा कि जब हमारी GDPR हुई, when we got the GDPR compliance certificate last, तो इत्तेफाक से उसके एक हफ्ते बाद हमारी एक बैंक में मीटिंग थी एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के सोल्यूशन के लिए. एंड सो हमने ऐसी डिस्कशन में बोला कि यार हम अब जारी बात है, फॉर मी एज अ कंपनी लीडर मेरे लिए बड़ा प्राइड होता है। तो मैंने बताया, मैं कहा जी हम लास्ट की GDPR की, हम PCI तो थे ही, अब हम GDPR भी हो गए। एंड द मैन्स डायरेक्ट रिस्पॉन्स टू मी वाज, यार आप जैसे लोग ना हमारी जिंदगी बड़ी तकलीफ में ले आते हैं, ठीक है। सो बिकॉज इट वाज अ गुड नेचर्ड मीटिंग, तो मैंने ज्यादा सीरियस नहीं लिया, तो मैं हंस के बोला, मैंने कहा क्यों? मैंने कहा कि यार आप जैसे लोग जो है ना, अब देखें हम जो है ना, PCI भी अभी हमारा चल रहा है, हम डेटा के ऊपर भी हमने काम नहीं किया हुआ। अब आप जैसी कंपनी के साथ जब काम करेंगे तो फिर आपके देखा देखी हमें स्टेट बैंक बोलेगा आप भी डेटा प्राइवेसी के कंट्रोल लगाएं, फिर हमारी तो रातें काली हो जाएंगी। यार आप लोगों के साथ बड़ा तकलीफ होती है। उस वक्त तो खैर मैं हंस के, वो मीटिंग का टोन लाइट था, मैं चले गया गाड़ी में बैठ के, मैंने अपने कमर्शियल हेड जो है मेरे जूनियर, उसको मैंने बोला, मैंने कहा यार पहला बैंक देखा है जिसको मैंने खुशी से ये बताया कि आप मेरे पास AML का सोल्यूशन लगा रहे हैं, मैंने तो अब ना GDPR भी कर लिया डेटा प्राइवेसी के लिए मेरे और उसने आगे से बोला आप जैसे लोग मेरी जिंदगी बड़ी तकलीफ में लाते हैं, क्योंकि अगर आपके पास मैं होस्ट करूंगा तो मुझे तो अपने पास भी कंट्रोल लगाने पड़ेंगे, फिर मुझे स्टेट बैंक भी बोलेगा आप भी काम करें। दिस इज मैं कोई लाइव बात बता रहा हूँ 2019 के एंड की, क्या लाइक यार this is the attitude that something that should be taken positively. People in my country think कि यार ये तो इतना सारा है तो चेकलिस्ट भर जाएगा काम का, बिकॉज आपको पता है काम तो करने में मौत आ जाती है ना, क्योंकि देखिए फॉर एनीबडी हु हैजंट डन PCI DSS and GDPR, anybody who's listening, it is a very detailed standard and it caters to a lot of things जहाँ जो आपको शायद पहली नजर में लगता हो कि बिला वजह इतनी डिटेल दे रहे हैं इस बात पे, बट व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड द रिपरकशंस ऑफ दोस कंट्रोल्स यू बिगिन टू अप्रिशिएट कि यार ये मतलब ये क्यों कंट्रोल्स लगाए जा रहे हैं। एंड आई थिंक anybody who reads through the document will realize that it's a very important and very comprehensive framework, which brings me to the next point, legal risk. इस वक्त जो हमारे मुल्क में जो लॉज एंड एक्ट पे अराउंड दीज, दे आर वेरी वीक एंड अभी क्या करते हैं लोग, ग्रे एरियाज निकालते हैं। लोग कहते हैं कि नहीं ये क्योंकि लॉ नहीं है, ये क्योंकि बिल नहीं है तो ये हम पे लागू नहीं होता, हम तो स्टेट बैंक का स्टैंडर्ड फॉलो करेंगे, हम तो SCCP का स्टैंडर्ड फॉलो करेंगे, एंड बिकॉज द करंट लॉ ऑफ द स्टेट सुपरसीड्स ऑल अदर लॉज, करंट लॉ ऑफ द स्टेट में इसकी इतनी ज्यादा कवरेज नहीं दी हुई। सो अगर आप इन टर्म्स ऑफ पॉइंटर्स, इन टर्म्स ऑफ लर्निंग, अगर आप कनाडा के बताएं, सो I know it has other frameworks as well, but in the legislature, does it have a superseding law that kind of encompasses this aspect of data privacy and data protection above everything else?
So, I mean, we have PIPEDA, which is a federal law. It came into effect in 2000, and then some provinces have provincial laws also. So PIPEDA, which actually pertains to personal identifiable information, और उसके अलावा हर province का मैंने बताया कि अपने भी laws है जिसको जो which have added controls and added things around data localization. The only 2 provinces have that. उसके अलावा हमारे पास Personal Health Information Protection Act भी है, इसमें हेल्थ केयर इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोटेक्शन के ऊपर काफी डिटेल्स है। बहुत कम लोगों को पता है, कनाडा में तो काफी लोगों को पता है। जब COVID-19 शटडाउन हुआ था कनाडा में, इट वाज अराउंड March 12, उसके एक हफ्ते बाद PHIPAA में कुछ चेंजेस आई थी। PHIPAA इज द प्रोविंशियल हेल्थ केयर प्रोटेक्शन लॉ फॉर ओंटारियो, और उसके अंदर उन्होंने 3 चीजें ऐड की थी। वन वाज strict guidelines for app developers. The second thing was having audit trails. The third one was around de-identification of information. आपने बात की थी ना COVID-19 information की ट्रैकिंग के लिए, एक पूरी लेजिस्लेशन लाई गई है, चेंजेस लाई गई हैं हमारे लॉ के अंदर। तो सोचें यहाँ पे इतना सीरियसली इसको लिया जाता है कि when the whole country was shut down, हमारे लेजिस्लेचर्स में सारे पार्लियामेंटेरियंस नहीं आ रहे थे, और the thing which was priority for the government apart from saving human lives was protecting the information. जहां तक आपने इन्फोर्समेंट की बात की, देखिए मैंने आपको बताया इन्फोर्समेंट के लिए हमारे पास डेटा प्राइवेसी ऑफिसर्स हैं एट द फेडरल लेवल, एट द प्रोविंशियल लेवल, एंड ऑफ कोर्स ऑल द पिलर्स ऑफ द स्टेट दे आल्सो किक इन। मैं एक छोटी सी बात कहूंगा, पाकिस्तान में 2 इदारे हैं, 3 इदारे हैं बल्कि, जो काफी एफिशिएंट हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ इन्फोर्समेंट। वन इज नेशनल अकाउंटेबिलिटी ब्यूरो, The second one is FIA, and of course, from the judiciary point of view, Supreme Court is quite active. पाकिस्तान में डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट पे काम हो रहा है. मैं आपको कहता हूँ पाकिस्तान में डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट लेकर आए, जो दुनिया का कोई भी लॉ नहीं है. डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट इज नॉट द फर्स्ट एक्ट. वी हैव हैड ETO in the past, we have got PICO in the past, we've had PICA in the past. आप सिर्फ NAB और FIA को बोले कि आप इसकी इन्फोर्समेंट पे काम करें और इसके ऊपर फाइन्स इम्पोज करें लोगों के ऊपर जो इसके साथ कंप्लाई नहीं करते. आप देखें फिर लोग कैसे फॉलो नहीं करते हैं इसको.
मैं आपकी बात से I agree so much with what you're saying, because I have been advocating as an organization and as a person for data localization. Abhi somebody on chat was also saying to correlate this to the local market. मैं बहुत advocate करता हूँ, government में भी जाता हूँ, state bank भी जाता हूँ, SECB भी जाता हूँ, and I advocate for that. And after a certain amount of frustration, मैं आपको honestly बताऊँ, the most important people that I spoke to over the last year were the law enforcement agencies. I had excellent meetings with NAP. I had excellent meetings with FIA. I had excellent meetings with the intelligence, because they are on the front lines and they immediately recognize and understand the impact of the data. So they share intel on cross-border terrorism using data. They share intel on so many things, economic terrorism, and certainly they do acknowledge and understand the impact. And आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं, they are the right people to have the level of authority and the level of awareness to kind of take to task or to lead a task force in that case nationally, because they understand it. They immediately understand it. Because आप उनको एक बात बताते हैं, they have 10 stories to tell you. वो कहते हैं आप क्या बताते जी ये इस तरह की चीजें नहीं. And especially with, because we unfortunately have a very hostile relationship with our neighbors, so there are so many attempts at data breaches every single month, every single week, and we do the same over there. ऐसा नहीं कि हम नहीं करते, वो भी करते हैं, हम भी करते हैं. In fact, मैं आपको बताऊं, I want to tell the people as well, as a cloud provider, हर national holiday से एक दिन पहले हमारे जितने प्राइम कस्टमर्स हैं उनके लिए DDoS, पेंटेस्ट, दुनिया की सारी चीज हम करते हैं, क्योंकि किसी ना किसी पे कोई डिफेसिंग की अटेम्प्ट होती है, कोई एसक्यूएल इंजेक्शन का अटेम्प्ट होता है, कोई ना कोई साइट ब्रिंग डाउन करने की अटेम्प्ट होती है. दिस हैपेंस एट एवरी नेशनल इवेंट, एवरी नेशनल हॉलिडे, बोथ साइड्स ऑफ द बॉर्डर. सो पीपल लाइक दिस, दे अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू ऑफ डेटा एंड प्रोटेक्शन. कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
नहीं.
So these people do. So which brings me to the next point on India as well, because we love comparing. जब भी कोई e-commerce policy निकलती है, जब भी कोई digital payment की policy निकलती है, we talk about India because India has a stronger presence in terms of the global market. लेकिन अगर किसी ने इंडिया का PDP पढ़ा हुआ हो, which I went through in detail over the weekend, it's quite a strict law. And देखिए उसकी एक reason है. And again, this is a lot of people on the chat are asking कि why is it important for a country like Pakistan? मैं उसकी रीजन बताता हूँ. देखिए पाकिस्तान में क्या अभी हम इस फेज पे हैं, इन माय व्यू, इन द मार्केट वेयर एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग डिजिटल एंड वी वेरी एक्साइटेड अबाउट इट. इसलिए हम मूड में है कि जी क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर भी बाहर से आ रहा है, आ जाए, सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोवाइडर भी बाहर से आ रहा है, आ जाए. Local companies, local firms, local institutions are right now at the back end rather than the forefront, because there's a lot of excitement. India इस स्टेज में 8-6-7 साल पहले था. So India had Amazon come in way earlier. Amazon is still not in Pakistan. Amazon, the web store, came in a big way. Amazon has a huge headquarters in India. They had Google come in years ago. They had Microsoft come in years ago. Multi-billion dollar setups they have in India. So, India has had that exposure. India has had that e-commerce exposure, that cloud exposure, that software exposure, every sort of exposure. But even with all that exposure, why India's PDP is so important for us to learn from? Is from an economy that is very similar to ours, which has a large human capital base. So they're about 1 billion, we're about 250 million, but it's a very large base. Secondly, it is also to cater to that large base, it is depending heavily on a future in digitization, e-governance and digital products. उसके बावजूद India, और आप Google कर सकते हैं, to my audience I'm saying, and Farooq already knows this, India has been having massive pushbacks from institutions like Amazon, from Microsoft, from Google, from so many other countries कि आप localization पे क्यों जिद कर रहे हैं? Even throughout that, India has taken out an iteration of its PDP which is so strict, which mandates कि data local होना चाहिए, डेटा गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी पीडीपी के हिसाब से प्रोसेस होना चाहिए, स्टोर होना चाहिए। इंडियन सिटीजन की क्या राइट्स हैं उस डेटा के अराउंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कंट्रोल ऑफ दैट डेटा एंड इवन द डिलीशन ऑफ दैट डेटा। यहां तक कि इन्होंने उसको इतना ब्रॉड कर दिया कि ये बोला है कि जो कंपनी इंडिया में नहीं भी है लेकिन इंडिया में अपने गुड्स की डिलीवरी भी कर रही है out of from any other country using Indian postal service, even they will have to abide by the Indian PDP law. And abhi tak to they are not budging at all from this stance. So even India, which we all look up to, and we say कि देखें जी देखें इनके बाद तो सारे बड़ी बड़ी multinational technology multinational जो हैं, Tesla भी वहाँ आ रहा है, but India has not let go of the fundamental fact that data has to be protected and data has to be sovereign and localized. Farooq, could you add something on that? Because we love talking about India and Pakistan. कि जी India जैसा करें. So I would like you to shed some light on this as well. कि even with all the progress they're having, getting all these big names in their country, they're not letting go of the fundamentals.
No, I think that's the step in the right direction. That's something quite good. But I mean, it has its challenges too, because any developing country, and of course, India is still a developing country, uh, is faced with challenges around that. I know with this legislation, they had lots of challenges, but I mean, they are more forward thinking about this thing because, I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you said that all the big tech companies of the world, I mean, all the top 5 tech companies of the world have got some kind of back offices in India.
Yeah.
Be it Google, be it Microsoft, be it other companies. उसके अलावा एक और चीज जो समझने वाली है वो ये कि जो leading tech companies हैं American, they are mostly incorporated in EU for reasons of tax savings. I mean, आप Apple को देख लें, Amazon, they've been incorporated in Ireland and Netherlands and all these countries. But I mean, coming back to the fundamental rights for its citizens, I mean, India claims to be the largest democracy of the world, and of course, it's not a political discussion. Otherwise, maybe discussion हो सकती है कि democracy है या नहीं. But anyways, just because of that, they have used that as a driver behind this to make sure that they are able to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens, because we live in a global world, and most of the tech companies who are valuated over $1 trillion, they are huge data rigs, and if India does not have this regime in place, which is similar to GDPR, they won't be able to put a handle on how these organizations extract data and use it to their advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And इसी से मैं add करूँगा, a lot of people are asking that, you know, data localization, encouraging, you know, data localization, and how do you get these tech vendors? So somebody asked a very good question, which I love having a discussion on, is how do you deal with these tech vendors like Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, and all to enforce data localization? So Farooq can answer on this as well, but so this is exactly the debate that we've been having with the government and with the regulators. So see, it's a chicken and egg situation. A lot of government people say that कि यार अगर इस स्टेज पे डिजिटल पाकिस्तान वाले बोलते हैं अगर इस स्टेज पे उनको बोलेंगे कि आप यहाँ पर प्रेजेंस लाएं तो फिर वो अपना सेटअप यहाँ पर नहीं लाएंगे, वो यहाँ पर अपना क्लाउड नहीं लाएंगे, वो वहां पर अपने SaaS सर्विसेज नहीं लाएंगे. Yes, that might be true, but at the same time we also have to look at what we have on the positive. We have a very large user base. We have a very large youth population that is getting digitized and automated, and there are countries with a lot smaller potential user base that have managed to convince these companies to have a footprint in the country. So you know, that is exactly the conversation we have with regulators. Ke, why aren't we putting our foot down and telling people like Amazon, Google, Oracle, and others who are earning millions of dollars in revenue from here out of Pakistan to have a local footprint? And that is something I feel very strongly on, and which is why I'm having this conversation today about data localization as well. Is that until the law doesn't understand its own value and push these people to localize data, these people will not do it, because unko to cost benefit hai na? They save a lot of money by running centralized services. So why would they feel the need to set up a data center or resources or human resource in Pakistan when they can do it out of Singapore and they can do it out of the Middle East? You know, and so this is very important. Farooq, what's your view on that? I feel very strongly about convincing these companies to have a small footprint in the country to serve the needs.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think just to add to that, I would suggest that the government should also create a more conducive environment for these companies. Agar government in companies ko incentives offer kare, especially tax incentives. I know for a fact that Oracle and IBM and Microsoft, they pay millions of dollars worth of taxes in Pakistan.
Yes.
अगर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान उनको टैक्स इंसेंटिव दे कि अच्छा ठीक है अगर आप डेटा को लोकलाइज करते हैं, विल गिव यू अ टैक्स ब्रेक फॉर दिस मच परसेंटेज, ओके। और उसके अलावा दे एनकरेज देम टू वर्क विद कंपनीज लाइक, आई गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ कनाडा। कनाडा में we have all the leading cloud providers now have a local cloud, like Amazon has a Canadian cloud,
Yep.
all of them, all the top 4 has them, ठीक है जी। और उन लोगों ने क्या किया कि उन लोगों ने they did not reinvent the wheel. They went around, like Google went to this cloud service provider in Montreal. I don't want to name that provider, you can probably find that out. उनके पास गए, उनका एक certification process था. Now that data center in Montreal is part of the Google Cloud in Canada, and of course they've got backup sites in Vancouver and other places around Canada. But of course, तो ये चीजें करनी है कि उनको incentive दिए जाए. जैसे for instance, I don't work for Rapid Compute, but I can give. Let's pick on Rapid Compute. Like if Microsoft wants to have a local data center, or Google or Amazon, they can probably talk to Rapid Compute or make them their local cloud, and of course they can work out a deal. But the thing is that this will only happen through a private and public partnership. The government has to kick in. The government has to provide an environment. अब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि रैपिड कंप्यूट सबके पास, सारे क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर्स के पास जाए बोले जी आप हमारे साथ काम कर लें, आपको फायदा होगा और ये होगा. Of course they will see that, okay, if they have a local cloud, उनकी कॉस्ट काफी नीचे आ जाएगी. The thing is कि it is legislation, incentives provided by the government, and of course how the private sector can complement that. It's a combination of all these things.
I 100% agree with you, and this is the conversation we have with the government as well, even with the new Digital Pakistan team. So when they talk about encouraging all these big players from coming in, our caution is always not to get excited that they will come in to offer services, but to get excited if they would come in and establish a footprint. That is the real value to an economy and a country, because establish a footprint would mean more jobs, knowledge transfer, and capacity building. देखिए हमारा मसला ये भी है कि capacity building भी सोचनी है कि वो knowledge transfer जब तक मुल्क में नहीं होगा on how to do things, you will always be dependent on technology from abroad, right? Which is why today also we import so many basic commodities, electronic commodities, which younger, smaller countries than ours are producing on their own. So this is a great reason, and I think these are good suggestions, like a tax incentive and so many. In fact, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can offer so many incentives. If they want to have physical presence, there are so many software technology parks in Pakistan, right? Punjab, maybe Sindh, maybe aap udhar free real estate de sakte, and many other countries have done this. If you look at the South Asian economies, they've done this in the past. They've encouraged a lot of tech giants to come into their tech parks. I think even Dubai in the beginning, when it started, the DIC, the Internet City, and a couple of others, they were extremely lax when they were offering to. अगर मैं अभी recently 2 महीने पहले गया हुआ था, कौन सा दफ्तर नहीं है local footprint का वहाँ पर. Everything from SAP to Azure to Salesforce, everybody has a local presence there, because now they've started making it the regional hub. Imagine the amount of money and the amount of knowledge that the Middle East is getting just from that kind of a relationship. That's in my view, that's very, very important. अभी हमने enforcement की तो बात की और डंडे की भी बात की, fines की भी, but अगर हम positive approach का पूछूं मैं आपसे, so organizations are very resistant to implement controls. They're very, very resistant to implement controls. Some people feel it exposes them. Some people feel that they don't have the skill set to do it. So how can we encourage organizations? एक तो जी डंडा हो गया, enforcement हो गई ना, but उस timeline के दौरान भी जो हर government एक timeline देती है साल का 18 महीने का controls implement करने के लिए, what can we do as an industry and as a legal body to encourage these organizations to implement these controls? Do we have any suggestions or any such scenarios in Canada where organizations were encouraged to go ahead with a drive to implement all these controls with the
in any organization, if you're bringing about a change or an organization change management, you're also in some cases talking about a change in culture. And there's a very famous saying which says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. ठीक है जी. और ये बड़ा एक इशू होता है. तो एक बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस है वो ये है कि you always drive a change through the top management, or what they कहते हैं ना, tone at the top. The thing is कि unless and until it's an initiative which is not driven by the top management as a priority, nobody will take it seriously. कितने बैंक्स के सीईओज हैं जिन लोगों ने पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट्स दी है, या जिनकी स्टेटमेंट्स प्रेस में पब्लिश हुई हैं, जिन्होंने बोला हुआ है कि जी we will go for PCI DSS compliance, or we will take security seriously. I mean, I spent a good amount of more than 10 years working in the Pakistani banking industry. मैंने तो आज तक कभी किसी बैंक के प्रेसिडेंट को नहीं सुना था कहते हुए कि जी will take security seriously and all that. क्या पता internally हो, but मैंने externally कभी नहीं सुना. So tone at the top really matters. And of course, हम लोग एक और चीज भी कहते हैं यहाँ पे, देखें, they say that you have either been breached or you don't know about it. Every organization in the globally has at some point in time has been breached. And what a famous saying goes in the cybersecurity world is that don't judge an organization by the breach, judge them by the way
they reacted to it. Yeah.
Okay. So breach सब लोग हो सकते हैं. Like name any top tech companies. मैं जब भी अपनी presentations करता हूँ, मैं Fortune 50 companies के logos लगाता हूँ, मैं पूछता हूँ, tell me how many of these companies have been breached so far. Every company has been breached. But the thing is that how has the management reacted to it? What measures have the management taken? Because quite sadly, security everywhere in the world is the approach towards security is reactive, not proactive. There has to be one security incident which takes place, and then it's an eye-opener for the management, and the management says, okay, yaar, ab humne kuch karna hai to prevent the other breach.
Bilkul. I think being vulnerable once is or being proven vulnerable once is very important for the security posture of any organization. I think बहुत जरूरी होता है. My infosec guy often tells me कि you can never claim to be good at security until you've been hacked at least once. Because how do you know you're good if you've never been hacked or if you never attempted? So वो हमेशा मुझे कहता है कि sir, either we are not good or either we are not important enough. कि किसी ने हमें घास नहीं डाली हमें हैक करने के लिए.
Everybody's important.
Yeah. So somebody is asking कि जी GDPR ने तो localization पे इतना stress नहीं दिया, तो हम लोग क्यों बात कर रहे हैं? तो I would like to first answer that. देखिए, इसमें हम सिर्फ GDPR की बात नहीं कर रहे. GDPR is just the backdrop for this conversation. We talked about a lot of reasons for data localization. Capacity बात की, हमने tax, हमने capacity building की बात भी की, revenues की बात भी की, हमने convincing all these big tech companies to come into the country, हमने इसकी बात भी की. This is exactly why India is doing it. हमने इसलिए बात भी की. So we're just not comparing it to GDPR के GDPR में है कि नहीं, but उसके साथ-साथ so many other benefits that come from it. Like GDPR में है on the control of data, more important than the data localization, right? So control is a lot easier when data is close to you, when data is close to the source of the when data is residing close to the source. अब मैं आपकी छोटी सी मिसाल दूं, हम लोग थोड़ी देर पहले FIA और NAB वगैरह की बात कर रहे थे. अब इसमें GDPR का कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, लेकिन डेटा लोकलाइजेशन का इनका क्या कंसर्न था? So last year, without taking the name of the bank, so I'm hosting many banks and their data with me, and last year one of those banks had a very sizable embezzlement fraud, very sizable. For the size of the bank, it was very sizable. And वो सारा fraud जो है वो fake email IDs के थ्रू हुआ. लेकिन वो fake थी, IDs गलत नहीं बनी थी, IT was genuinely created. IT backend से IT वाले ने जो मुलव्विस था वो IDs बनाई हुई थी और उन पे advices follow हो रही थी to make it look as it's happening legally. It's happening legally. So they cybercrime division जो है FIA जो है they financial crime division जो है they got in touch with the bank और उन्होंने कहा जी ये चोरी हुई है, public money है, तो आप हमें इसकी email की trail और dumps दें. 24 hours में उन्होंने उनको बोला जी हमारे पास तो डेटा डिलीट हो गया, हमारे पास तो डेटा गायब हो गया, हम तो डेटा दे नहीं सकते, ये तो जो भी मिला हुआ था पीछे डिलीट कर गया. नाउ द लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसी सस्पेक्टेड दैट ऐसा नहीं है एंड देयर डेटा रेप्लिका ऑफ दैट डेटा रिजाइड्स ऑन द सर्वर. तो उन्होंने बोला आपका सर्वर कहां पर है? तो उन्होंने कहा जी रैपिड कंप्यूट पे. अच्छा, एज पार्ट ऑफ द PTA ambit and as part of FIA and cybercrime, the government through a court order, any government is well within its right to request for a data dump of a company that is under prosecution or a person that is under prosecution. ये तो हमारे लॉ में. अब उन्होंने हमें डेटा मांगा, हमने कोर्ट ऑर्डर के लिए रिक्वेस्ट की. जब सारा लीगल डेटा आया, जब लीगल पेपर वर्क आया, because the data was locally in the country, that legal document from the court held weight on us. We gave them a set of that data legally, which they extracted in their own forensic labs and were able to get the entire headers and logs of that email and data, and they were eventually able to apprehend the person. और हमें बताया गया कि 80% से ज्यादा पैसा भी पब्लिक का रिकवर हो गया उसके बाद. This is the question we ask a lot of people in the government and a lot of companies. यही डेटा अगर उस बैंक का, जो कि कुछ अर्सा पहले तक गवर्नमेंट का स्टैंस, अभी भी हम प्रेशर करते हैं जो स्टैंस था कि जी अमेजोन पे भी है तो होने दो, गूगल क्लाउड पे भी है जो होने दो, यही डेटा ईमेल्स का या ईआरपीस का या बैंकिंग का, मुझे आप बताएं, आप अपने कोर्ट ऑर्डर के बेसिस पे उस कंपनी से कैसे मांगते? क्या आप अमेजोन भेजते फैक्स के जी हाई कोर्ट में बोला ये डेटा दे दें क्योंकि इसने 30 अरब रुपए या 30 करोड़ रुपए चोरी किए, आप हमें इसका डेटा दे दें? क्या आप AWS का Azure को लिखते? क्या आप गूगल को लिखते? It would have held no value, and then you would have had to go through a lengthy process to even get an audience with them. This is another reason. तो इसमें GDPR का कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, ये एक अलग बेनिफिट है लॉ एनफोर्समेंट का और फाइनेंशियल कंट्रोल का और करप्शन कंट्रोल का. By localizing data, we have been able to, and companies like not just us, other companies as well, have been able to help financial crime aversion and detection and prevention and apprehension. लेकिन यही चीज अगर आप बाहर अलाउ करेंगे और डेटा इतना दूर रिजाइड करेगा तो आप किस तरह उस डेटा पे एक्सेस करेंगे? फारूक, if you would like to add something on this. Farooq, you're on mute, I think. Farooq, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And the thing is that the reason why localization is encouraged is to make sure that if something breaks or something goes wrong, you can actually the legal recourse which takes place does not become complicated. Because if you're storing border data across the border, you need to honor the data protection laws of that country itself. और मैं आपको भी एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ डेटा लाइक एक्स्ट्राडिशन ट्रीटीज का. आप सोचेंगे कोई क्रिमिनल, कोई पाकिस्तानी क्रिमिनल, कोई बंदा क्राइम पाकिस्तान में कमिट करता है और पाकिस्तान से बाहर भाग जाता है, उसको लेके आने में कितनी मुश्किल होती है. So and when it comes to data, of course it becomes more complicated, because of course if you go your law enforcement agencies, if they need to pursue a company which has a data center in some other part of the world, they need to honor their data protection laws. They need to honor how they are going to be pursuing that. And of course, most of the countries, they do not allow the law enforcement agencies of other countries to interfere in their proceedings. They might investigate that on your behalf, but they will do it at their own whims and wishes.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion. Sorry, मुझे एक फैक्ट मिल गया था, मैं ढूंढ रहा था साइड पे टैबलेट पे. पीडीपी का फाइन, हम लोग फाइन की बात कर रहे थे. Given the size of the Indian companies, पीडीपी का फाइन है 4%. इंडिया का जो पीडीपी है 4% of annual global turnover. So for companies like Tata and all these who do hundreds of billions of business globally, it's 4% of annual global turnover. That's a massive number. That's a massive number as a fine and as a huge deterrent. Coming down to the closure of our discussion, one of the slides that I put in, which obviously close to me because cloud की बात हो रही है, लेकिन बड़ा important है कि देखिए अभी क्या हो रहा है. अभी क्योंकि डिजिटाइजेशन का दौर आ रहा है ना, फिनटेक्स में भी बहुत सारी चीज में डिजिटाइजेशन की बात हो रही है. So a lot of these companies, मुझे पता है क्योंकि मैं इनके साथ अखाड़े में खड़े होकर लड़ रहा होता हूँ every week, every month, because I'm on the other side of that argument. They're making international argument for taking side. बहुत ही primitive discussions होती हैं उसमें, बड़े basic बहाने से, जी उनके पास ये सर्विस है, उनके पास ये सर्विस है, इसलिए हम बाहर जाना चाह रहे हैं और डेटा बाहर रखना चाह रहे हैं. और क्योंकि जी हमारे मुल्क में जो गवर्निंग बॉडीज जनरली मुल्क में टेक्निकल कॉम्पिटेंस बहुत लो है. सो वो इन चीजों से बड़ा बताते हैं कि अच्छा यार ठीक है, इनको तो बिजनेस ठीक है. सो गिवन दैट नाउ Amazon and other have a presence and either we are fighting to do the same कि या लोकल क्लाउड वालों को अलाउ करें इस गैप को फिल करने के लिए, तो फिर लोग, क्या ये सिचुएशन वहां भी आई थी कि लोग शुरू में क्लाउड्स को बहाना बना के ये प्रोडक्ट है उनके पास?
ओके, आप अपने क्वेश्चन का लास्ट पार्ट रिपीट कर देंगे? देयर वाज सम साउंड इंटरप्शन।
मैं कह रहा था कि लास्ट पार्ट मेरे क्वेश्चन ये था कि लोग बड़ी बेसिक चीजों को क्योंकि बहाना बना के कन्विंस करने की कोशिश करते हैं डेटा बाहर ले जाने के लिए, तो अब तो कनाडा में खैर सारे क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर्स लोकली आ गए हैं, बट इनिशियली क्या उधर भी ऐसा एक था कि बाहर ले जाने के बहाने से कि यार कि हम क्योंकि अमेजोन यूज करना चाह रहे हैं या गूगल यूज करना चाह रहे हैं तो हमें डेटा बाहर ले जाने दिया जाए, तो क्या ऐसा भी हुआ? और अगर ऐसा हुआ तो उस वक्त गवर्नमेंट का क्या स्टैंड था उनकी तरफ?
देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो हमारा मेन फेडरल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट है, पेपीडा, it does not make it mandatory for does not make data localization mandatory. But having said that, वो एक और चीज ये कहते हैं कि जो पर्सनल आइडेंटिफाइबल इंफॉर्मेशन है उसके बारे में प्रॉपर डिस्क्लोजर होना चाहिए टू द पर्सन हु दैट इंफॉर्मेशन बिलोंग्स टू। तो अगर फारूक नैयर का डेटा टीडी बैंक कनाडा से बाहर लेके जा रहा है तो फारूक नैयर को पता होना चाहिए कि उसका डेटा बियॉन्ड द बाउंड्रीज ऑफ कनाडा जा रहा है। तो वो जो पीस था, so we did not make it, the law doesn't make it mandatory, the federal law, but there are some provincial laws by the province of BC and Nova Scotia who make data localization mandatory. But क्योंकि federal law में भी ये लिखा हुआ है कि you need to disclose that and need to have a proper communication in place or disclosure in place. So क्योंकि that whole the whole operational aspect of making those disclosures became an operational nightmare, most of the institutions said that okay, you know what, we will keep the data in Canada. दूसरी चीज ये कि जो बहुत सारे पब्लिक सेक्टर इंस्टीट्यूशंस है कनाडा के अंदर, they frown upon the fact that data is going beyond the boundaries of Canada. तो हमने कल्चरली अपने इनबिल्ड कर लिया इस चीज को कि okay, you know what, if you're going to show the data outside Canada, we're not comfortable with that. In fact, some organizations also have a policy in place which says okay, any Canadian data will not leave the bounds of Canada because फिर उनकी accountability बढ़ जाती है प्राइवेसी कमिश्नर को, जो प्रोविंशियल प्राइवेसी कमिश्नर और जो फेडरल प्राइवेसी कमिश्नर है, कि वो जब आके पूछेंगे कि आपने डेटा कनाडा से बाहर मूव किया तो आपने अपने कस्टमर्स को बताया, आपने प्रॉपर डिस्क्लोजर किया, तो सिर्फ उससे बचने की, उस ऑपरेशन नाइटमेयर से बचने के लिए यहाँ की ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने पुश किया। क्योंकि देखिए अल्टीमेटली क्या हो रहा था कि दे वर लोकल क्लाउड सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स हु वर कमिंग अप इन कनाडा, तो वो AWS का और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का और गूगल का जो और बिगर जो बड़े आपके क्लाउड सर्विस प्लेयर्स हैं उनका मार्केट शेयर काफी इसकी वजह से टूट रहा। मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा काफी टूट रहा था, बट इफेक्ट हो रहा था, उनके मार्केट शेयर को एक डेंट मिल रही थी। तो ये रीजंस थे।
And that's a fair point. देखिए, and this is what brings me to the last point on the slide, is that all developing countries and people like us, one of the most important things we need to do as socially and economically responsible citizens as well is also build local capacity. And जितने मुल्कों में भी या देखें जो offshoot फायदा या जो spin-off फायदा ये होता है when you do data localization, when you do control on data, then what happens is a lot of the companies, जिस तरह आपने कहा ना, वो operational nightmare, operational hassle या ऑडिट हैसल से बचने के लिए देश से यार बाहर जाने से बेहतर है लोकली कर लो, राइट? सो बिजनेस की तो नीड्स होती हैं. व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट लोकल बिजनेसेस एंड लोकल इन माय लोकल क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर्स, in software's case local software manufacturers, they start building capacity and they start building feature sets and they start building the same kind of ecosystem that country or that industry needs. मैं बड़ी छोटी सी मिसाल देता हूँ. जब डॉलर 125 से 148 150 पे गया था ना, so I was speaking to the Pakistan Software House Association and PSEB, Software Export Board. जितने लोकल बड़े मल्टीनेशनल्स और जितने लोकल बड़े इदारे जो कि मोस्टली अपने सॉफ्टवेयर के टेंडर बाहर भी पब्लिश करते थे और फॉरेन अमेरिकन या यूरोपियन सॉफ्टवेयर हाउसेस को अपना ERPs या उसका टेंडर देते थे, बिकॉज डॉलर और पाउंड और यूरो इतना महंगा हो गया था उस वक्त, डॉलर वाज द ड्राइवर, इकोनॉमिक्स वाज द ड्राइवर. दे स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट ऑप्शंस विद इन द कंट्री एंड उससे हुआ ये कि millions of dollars का धंधा overnight within a quarter or two started floating in the local market. उससे क्या हुआ, लोकल सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट का इकोसिस्टम बड़ा हुआ। एंड आज बहुत सारी ऐसी कंपनियां जिनका नाम आपको उंगलियों पे मतलब टॉप पे पता होगा, इन्फोसिस, पाकिस्तान से बात कर रहा हूँ, इन्फोटेक, आपका ये सिस्टम्स लिमिटेड, आपका नेटसोल, ऑल ऑफ दीज कंपनीज बिजनेसेस अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड, बिकॉज उस वक्त इनके पास इतना बिजनेस आया कि इन्होंने अपने लेवल भी ऊपर किया, अपना स्केल भी बड़ा किया। सो दिस वाज वन एग्जांपल फॉर अ नॉन डेटा रीजन। उस वक्त डॉलर वाज द रीजन जिसकी वजह से कैपेसिटी बढ़ी लोकल। सिमिलरली data localization, say when people start using local infrastructure, they will start demanding those advanced services from local companies, and then companies like mine or PTCL or others will have no choice but to develop capacity. But then at the same time, Farooq, we won't mind spending money to develop capacity because we will also know that there's a market out there, right? So when you create a local sovereign ecosystem, इसके बहुत सारे और फायदे भी होते हैं. And the biggest फायदा is building local capacity, whether it's cloud, whether it's software, whether it's audit capacity, compliance capacity, regulatory capacity. I mean, do you agree on that? Has
No,
it helped Canada in terms of capacity?
देखिए, आई टोटली एग्री विद दैट, बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। और कनाडा ने इसी वजह से जो कनाडा का लोकल इकोसिस्टम है वो डेवलप हो रहा है। मैंने आपको बताया कि गूगल्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड एंड माइक्रोसॉफ्ट द वर्ल्ड, उनके जो लोकल डेटा सेंटर्स हैं उनके अपने नहीं, उन्होंने वाइट लेबल किए हैं। एंड ऑफ कोर्स दैट डिड नॉट हैपन ओवरनाइट। And I can count companies which are actually termed as a local cloud service provider, also Canadian cloud, who are getting tremendous business out of this market right now. And of course, Pakistan maybe, of course, we need more companies like yours and other companies who can come into the space, because one Rapid Compute or one PTCL, one XYZ company cannot fulfill the needs of the market also. So, and of course, as I said, this will only be achieved through private and public partnership and incentives by the government too. Private sector on its own काम नहीं कर सकता. Government has to kick in and has to provide you guys incentives. And of course, all the big cloud service providers have to be made accountable, और उनको भी incentives मिलने चाहिए that okay, if they have a local instance of their cloud in Pakistan, what kind of incentives they are getting?
Exactly. I think the government part. I mean, I think the common thread here in all our conversations, when you talk about Canada or Pakistan or India, it's actually the government involvement in it. It is the top down, the mindset, the culture की आपने बात की ना, culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's unless top down we as a government do not realize the importance and the many subsequent benefits it can have. आई थिंक उस वक्त तक इसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो गई या इसकी पूरी तरीके से इसकी रोल आउट भी मेरा ख्याल है बहुत मुश्किल है, बिकॉज पीपल विल अदरवाइज ऑलवेज फाइंड एक्सक्यूजेस इफ दे आर नॉट afraid of the government playing its part in regulating this. So I think that's a very fair point. किसी ने यहाँ पर बड़ा अच्छा मैसेज भी दिया हुआ मुझे प्राइवेट में कि one of the most famous cases is the BlackBerry case that the intelligence has asked for Hossein Haqqani and a couple of others, and BlackBerry had very politely declined to give the data because they said it's not within their policy operating out of Canada and the US. So yeah, I just thought this is a very
company. और मुझे वो कहानी पूरी याद है because I work with lots of ex-employees of BlackBerry. मुझे बिल्कुल वो कहानी याद है जो what was the name of that scandal? Memo scandal. Memogate. Memogate.
Yeah. So so there are tons of examples alongside that as well. So just let me. Yeah. So coming to that, that was the end of at least the slides. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask? Because I know, apologies, we've overrun our time. But if anyone has any last parting questions for Farooq Saab here, it would be great. Okay, so someone's written.
Unmuted.
Companies be sure.
There are a few questions
can you see the chat as well?
In the chat, yeah. So if you can start from the top.
Okay, the first one is from Syed Ali Waqas. He said that these emails are circulated among all banks in Pakistan which were routed from Google India.
Is related to the one on. It's I know one of the guarantee companies in Pakistan who was PCI DCS compliant, but his email server was hosted in Google cluster in India.
Acha. PCI DSS compliance and the Google server houses in India does not have anything to do with each other. It has got more to do with data localization. So, of course, for the longest time, emails from Google India were routed through India, and even if you guys are using Hotmail, that was being routed through India. So that doesn't come as a surprise to me. The next one is, how can local companies be sure about data security? From who is RSA? There are various ways of doing so. I think Imran just quoted some examples. His company is PCI DSS compliant. They went for GDPR compliance also. I'm sure they're like an ISO 27001 certified company too. There are lots of companies.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so there are lots of companies. I won't name them. You can just Google them. Lots of companies who do provide security audits, security certifications, and third-party certifications to companies. The next one is ISPs have their cloud solutions available for purchase. Local companies should approach them, compare them. Okay, that's a comment. Rizwan, you can probably answer that.
Yeah, so Rizwan, so this is exactly the what we're trying to do is trying to convince companies to approach local organizations. एक तो वैसे भी आजकल with the dollar and the foreign exchange issues, so it's a more economically advisable way to work as well. But this is what we're trying to do to convince companies to approach the local clouds and compare their feature set, compare their tariffs, and because it's a two-way street. Jitna local response aayega, local cloud providers will also adapt and modify to serve the local needs. Is government working on legislation for data localization? Well, I have a little bit of a view on this. In bits and parts, yes. So, for example, there is some mention in a couple of the bills. There's some mention in the SCCP draft as well. There's some mention in the PDPA as well, and they're also looking at implementing in the State Bank draft as well, where even if they do allow some usage of tools on international servers, they are going to mandate 100% replication of data on a local cloud as well. So in some form or the other, in my visibility, the government is working on bills and legislations for some form of data localization in all scenarios.
We do have questions in the beginning as well. I'll just read them out to the both of you then. Amir J is asking, how would you deal with tech vendors like Microsoft and Oracle when you try to import data?
I've already answered that question by saying they need to be brought in and given incentives. Yeah.
Okay. Shamil is asking why GDPR doesn't enforce data localization and highlight repercussions of data localization as well.
Yeah, so we answered that first part where we talked about we're not just talking about GDPR. We were talking about other data localization benefits as well. But he's asking about the negative effects of data localization. Farooq, would you able to add any value on? The question is on the flip side that what would be the negative repercussions of enforcing data localization?
Okay, Ji. Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
So the question is, what is the negative repercussion of data localization?
Yeah.
Single point of failure. That's the only negative I see. If the local data center or the local cloud provider does not have a redundant enough data center, does not have redundancy in place, that's the only risk which I see. Otherwise, everything else is an advantage.
Okay, great. So, guys, we're running short of time.
Imran, we do have another last question, if I can just read it out. So we have a question from who is RSA. He's asking about how about security breaches preventions and how do they accommodate the victim in Pakistan, and are there any laws for it?
I wouldn't know. I think cybercrime law is
Bilkul. You're right.
Cybercrime law is the one that is quite quite detailed, and उसमें काफी चीजें हैं dealing with data breaches. Yeah, see, Protection of Electronic Crimes Act. I think someone has posted as well. Protection of Electronic Crimes Act covers it quite. So just single point of failure वाली बात पे करने के लिए, so it's a very important point जो Farooq ने कहा as a drawback, which is why customers itself can actually pressure and force cloud service providers like ours to have multiple sites and multiple data redundancies, and because at the end of the day we are businesses that have to meet expectations. So if you're aware of the kind of services you need, and you're aware that this is an important fact of data localization, then you must pressure your service providers to provide that kind of redundancy. I know for a fact PTCL has multiple sites. We have 5 data centers in the country. Other providers also have multiple data centers. But even if some don't, it's only when people are aware of what needs to be there and what needs to be present to provide proper data security and localization. So you're right. You ask for it. You pressure people like us to provide those services and to provide that kind of resiliency. जब तक आप मांगेंगे नहीं तो people will keep saving money and doing what's good for business. But only if the customer or the organization or the citizen is more empowered and understands what he needs, only then will companies like ours comply. I think I'll draw a line here because it's close to 6 and it's Ramzan. So thank you, Farooq. Great seeing you after such a while. And thank you so much for taking out the time to have this important session. This will be going online on all the social media posts wherever we are visible and whether Farooq is. If you have any further questions or comments, you can always comment on the post that when it's posted online. And then any of us, whenever we visited, we will be sure to tag you and reply on that. I would like to just request Farooq to give us some parting comments.
Farooq, you're on mute.
Farooq can't hear you.
Okay, I think I was talking to myself all this time. First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me to this session. I think I learned a lot about Pakistan's state of data protection. And of course, the Data Protection Act, which is the draft for that has been shared with me. I've taken a brief look at that, but I still need to review it. But the thing which is important to understand is that no matter what legislation Pakistan comes up with, the important thing is going to be the enforcement. So if Pakistan comes up with a really good plan for implementation and enforcement, then we are good. Otherwise, it will be there as any other law and act in Pakistan, which is ineffective. It will be a toothless law. So we need to make sure that the government of Pakistan is able to add some teeth to that law so that it can be enforced and properly and can be taken seriously by the citizens of Pakistan.
Couldn't agree more, 100%. I think that's why our conversations with the law enforcement agencies and the people who deal with sensitive data breaches, I think those conversations need to be ongoing. And I think if that piece is taken care of, then once the enforcement is strong, I think people will have enough of an incentive or motivation to take this bill and draft seriously when it becomes legislature.
Sure.
Synergy. Having said that, thanks a lot, and we'll be signing off. I hope you all are safe, healthy, staying indoors, and aapke roze achhe ja rahe. And hopefully we'll have another session on interesting topics soon. So thank you once again for joining in, and take care, and Allah Hafiz to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.